All right, guys, we are live. It's episode 248 of the Shooter's Mindset. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Co-host joining me, Jennifer Seymour. What's going on, Jen?
Hey, everybody.
Co-host Greg Cannon's back. His second show. He's still a newbie.
Hey, everyone.
We have folks over at Tandem Cross back, man. This is our third show with them. It's like they wait to do a show and then they release a bunch of stuff right after the show. So we have to bring them on again to talk about it. So that's the case again. We have Jennifer joining us. What's going on, Jen?
Hey, how is everybody?
Good. Good to have you back on. You were on the very first show. I forgot the numbers of those shows, man, but I will put them in the YouTube link if you want to find out more about Tandem Cross and some of those older episodes. You can go click on those and watch them as well. We also have the new guy at Tandem Cross. He's kind of like the brain, engineering dude to create all the new products, and that's Keith. What's going on, man?
Not too much. How are you? Thanks a lot for having me on.
It's good to have you on. It's good to kind of virtually meet you. I know you're going to be at SHOT Show, so I know I won't be there. Jen will, and she has you guys on the schedule, so we'll see what you guys have live over at the SHOT Show floor. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of that here during this show here. We're going to get into show sponsors, folks over at Tactical Shit. All right, shop.tacticalshit.com for all your tactical shit needs. Man, they have it all over their clothing, parts for firearms, et cetera, coffee. You can kind of beard oil. You can kind of get it all over at Tactical Shit. All right. The folks over at Gear Nation, kind of a local apparel company, a good friend of mine here in South Florida, doing his own designs for t-shirts and other stuff like that. So check out gearnationusa.com.
Is Woody coming to SHOT Show?
No, he won't be there neither. If he was coming out, I would almost have to buy a plane ticket at that point because he's walking entertainment. TheShootersMindset.com. You can catch all the blog articles that we got. We got a new one regarding sponsorship by Jessica Nitzel. That's been in the works for quite a bit. Okay. Might hurt some people's feelings, might make people feel good.
Might stir it up a little bit.
Might stir it up a little bit. And also, if you're new to that sponsorship thing, you might learn a thing or two. What do we have? The shop over there and keep up with the Shooter's Mindset live show, all at theshootersmindset.com. If you guys got any questions and you're watching on the YouTube side of things, top right-hand corner, you can join the conversation, get your question up over there. I'll grab it. We'll get it out to the folks over at Tandem Cross here live. Also, if you prefer to use Facebook, the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page, we got a recent post that just went up. Post your comments below that post, and we'll grab them and get them out live here. All right, for those, we'll kind of start off with Jen on this one. Tell us a little bit more about the company. I know we kind of hit this in the last two shows, but kind of where the company is today. I know you guys had a big move to a new location and kind of improvements, I guess maybe hired more people, et cetera. Just talk about all the new things about Tandem Cross.
Sure. Well, we've definitely spent some time this year in the last year growing. Growth is really important to every company. We like to say that you only grow to the size of your fishbowl. And our previous office location was definitely, we were squeezed in there. It was my house and it was a very tight fit. My office was the kitchen. I had customer service at the dining room table. We had shipping in the shop area in our basement and our guest room converted to offices. So for us to be able to move to a new 5,000 square foot facility is awesome because it allows us the opportunity to expand. So with that, we're able to pick up more more machines for prototyping. And Keith, we brought him on as a lead engineer for products. And, so that really allows us to grow and to expand. So onward and upward for sure.
Man, I didn't know it was in your house, to be honest. I know we did that episode. I thought you guys were in a facility and then you guys just moved to a bigger one. I didn't know it was a house operation. That you guys ran it pretty well then, because not many people who's running their business out of their house can still afford to go to SHOT Show and do all these things. So that means they were doing well in that area.
Well, I think we could afford to go to SHOT Show because we didn't have overhead, so it provided us those great opportunities. And certainly having the business in the house, we sort of laugh that everyone in our neighborhood, we're in a small little community neighborhood, but everyone would leave to go to work and then 8 cars would come and park in our driveway and on the road. And then it's like, quick, it's 5 o'clock. All the neighbors are coming home. And everyone would just vacate again. So,
so basically, everybody thought your house was the drug house.
well, no, they didn't even know. So it's funny. We would talk to our neighbors, and sometimes, our neighbors kind of keep to themselves, and we would just chit chat conversation while we're walking the dog or what have you. And they're like, so, how's work going? I'm like, oh, we've hired more employees and the house is really busy. The only people who really knew were the post office, because they were coming, picking up, hundreds of orders from our house every day. Needless to say, the post office was a little sad when we moved, because they do make money based on how much mail they pick up. So I think we kind of made the hooks at post office hurt a little bit when we left, but.
There we go. Keith, kind of explain your role with Tandem Cross and what your your important role. Obviously, you have a big deal in your background.
Yeah, as I was saying before the show, I wasn't in the firearms industry before. I've been an engineer for 20 years, and I've worked in aerospace and I worked in military, but not in firearms. Growing up, I liked firearms well enough, but it just wasn't something that I ever really did a deep dive on, and it wasn't something that I spent a lot of my personal time doing. But when I came in for an interview with Tandem Cross, it became pretty clear that they were very like-minded. They were very innovative. Also, they wanted to bring a lot of the manufacturing in-house, and that's something that I'm very interested in. Always, I liked working at companies where there was not only the design work going on in-house, but also they were building products in-house, assembling products in-house. And then they take it even farther than that, because they sell their things direct, and all the operations are right here under the roof. So that's a really exciting company to be at. And my primary job is to bring as many new products to market as I possibly can. But it goes further than that. I work with everyone in the company. I'm understanding the manufacturing problems that we're having, and bringing in new manufacturing processes. One of the new things that happened over the past year was we brought in a vertical milling machine. Jen had mentioned that. And that's a great capability for us, not just from the perspective of manufacturing, but also from the perspective of prototyping. When we're having problems with the products, I'm a person that's involved in that. When we're trying to brainstorm new products, I'm involved in that. But really, my most important role is that I'm designing the new products and I'm trying to get them to the finish line.
Boom. Yeah. So everybody has that kind of, we're thinking about an invention, whether it's Uber or something or a product, and oh man, and then we can never really think, what's the next step? We need a guy like you, Keith. All right, that's the next step. All right, because he's the one who does all the techie stuff, and no, you got to tweak this, you got to do this, and then millions of dollars later, we have a product. I assume, or something like that.
Well, hopefully not millions. I might need to have a conversation with Keith if he's spending millions of dollars getting parts to market. But
at least I guess it depends on the product, right?
Yeah. So this is why you don't hire Anthony.
Yeah, we will drive the cost up.
It's pretty amazing. It used to be, when I first started engineering, if you wanted to prototype a product, like let's say on a 3D printer, you had to do that out of house, and it was something that took a long time to do, and you'd send out the design, and then a couple of weeks later it would come back and it cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars to make a design. And now, just the way with technology, how it is, we have those prototyping capabilities right here. And so if a customer, or if let's say we go to SHOT Show and we come back with a bunch of ideas, we can talk about them in the morning, and literally in the afternoon we can have prototypes that we're putting into firearms, and we're shooting them and we're trying them out and getting an idea if it makes sense to go forward with that product. That's a really fun day for an engineer, and so I have a lot of fun. I feel like I have the funnest job at Tandem Cross. Sometimes I feel like I have a job that everybody would want to have.
Oh, that's a good feeling to have.
Yeah.
Greg, you're kind of new. You're kind of just getting into that. No, I'm not going to say new, but you got like a rimfire set up that you're thinking about tricking out or something like that. What do you got?
Yep. So actually, sometime last year, I was watching TSM and I won this super awesome Vortex Razor. And I didn't want to put it, I couldn't figure out what to put it on. So of course, free optic means go out and buy a gun.
Of course.
So when I bought this Mark IV, I've literally shot it in competition once. I want to say, being said, it's definitely been broken in. I want to say there was 5 or 6 people that shot an entire SEAL challenge with the same gun that day. It was a lot of fun. And this is, a little bit for me and then a lot for the people watching. I have this. It's basically bone stock. What do I do with this to make it better?
Well, sure. So I think, usually the first thing people are looking for is to upgrade their trigger. That's, a great start. Tandem Cross has, we've been making triggers across a multitude of platforms. So we almost have like a signature trigger look now, which is a flat face skeletonized trigger. So having the flat face trigger on there is going to allow you to have a good tactile sense when you're pulling to the left or to the right while you're pulling your trigger. Having a flat face trigger gives you more places to put your finger. So putting your finger at the bottom of the trigger is going to give you the feeling of a lighter trigger pull. So definitely a trigger is usually a first upgrade that a lot of people go for. A lot of competition shooters or other shooters will also look for something to make it easier to charge the gun or to clear it in a jam. So into there comes our Halo charging ring. And we make that across a multitude of platforms as well for rimfire. And it's one of those parts that sometimes people balk at because they think they don't really need it. But once they put the part on, they say, how have I not had this part? It's like a ring on the back of your bolt. You just pull it back super fast. It's an easy find for your hand. It doesn't, it's an ambidextrous. So if you're shooting your gun, if you're sharing your gun with 5 or 6 shooters at a competition and you have a side style racker and it's configured to a right-hand shooter, a left-hand shooter is not going to be able to use it. So the ambidextrous aspect of the Halo charging ring is great. Past that, I definitely recommend, we've got a nice Cornerstone safety thumb. Oh, we've got a Mark IV. So I was about to recommend a part from Mark IV 2245. Those two firearms take different parts for some things.
It is actually a 2245.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's just too much to say altogether. Ruger Mark IV 2245. I feel like I'm like writing a novel at that point in time.
Sometimes I just wish Ruger would like name each gun. This one's George. This one's Henry. It creates a lot of customer confusion with some of their. It's a Mark IV 2245 or a Mark III 2245 or it can get confusing. So
you can always do Glock style. This is the Ruger 11.
Yeah, there we go. Just give it a number so we all know how to differentiate.
The Glock thing is definitely confusing. Don't do that.
Glock 45. What caliber is that again?
9. And we get confused at the gun shop talking about that. Yeah, we want a Glock 45. They're like, you mean the model 45? Or we always gotta like say that extra step now because their models never kind of. I get now that I looked into it, I know where it makes sense, but to the normal person, they have no idea really. It's all over the place, but you can continue there with and the thing is with that 2245, like Jen said, their parts really, someone might think, oh, well, I got a Mark IV. Let me just order this part. It comes in the mail. And then they're like, oh, it doesn't work. Now we have to call Tandem Cross customer service, mail it back, get the night, and maybe they have a match coming up in a few days. And then that throws everything off.
Thankfully, if you get it off of their website, it's ridiculously easy to figure out, at least with Rugers, what the heck fits your gun.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the flat triggers. I've never actually ran a flat trigger on a pistol. I have a flat trigger on my AR. I have a flat trigger on my bolt gun. But it's definitely something I'd like to try. And it looks like it's got all sorts of adjustments in it because honestly, this stock trigger is pretty terrible. But it looks like you can adjust it pre and post travel, maybe.
Yep, absolutely. So, it really gives you, with the pre-travel and the post-travel adjustment, it's going to give you that flexibility to tune your trigger in just the way that you want it. And a little Loctite on those screws, and it's going to be good to go, and it'll run really well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jen, anything you got on your end or anything to chime in with? Or are you good?
I just want one.
Yeah, I mean, I know
I don't have a tricked out 22 to go shoot. I don't have one.
The good thing is that they're really affordable pistols, but then when you get into really tricking them out, the price will go up, of course. But that's with anything. Mm-hmm. But I know we've been doing a lot of PRS long range shows of recently, and The 22 kind of long range precision rimfire game is kind of blowing up a little bit. A lot of companies like Ruger's another one who's putting out these production style rimfire long guns for these style competitions. Is that something that Tandem Cross has their ears open to, or there's any products that are coming out regarding this kind of game?
Well, I mean, from Keith can talk about sort of technical things that are more parts that we might be thinking of exploring in that market. For us, it isn't necessarily a direction that we've moved into yet. When we started the company 6 years ago, we sort of did a little bit of this and a little bit of that. We dabbled in some Ruger, we dabbled in some Keltec products and upgrading those. And then we went back into sort of rimfire and Rugers and Browning Buckmarks and Smith & Wesson Victory. We picked that up as soon as we saw, we knew that was going to be a hot gun. So we picked up and started making parts for that. So as we're moving into the precision rimfire, we're starting to get requests. So for people that are looking for upgrades for those precision rimfire guns like that, we're always open to customer suggestions, because so many of our product ideas come from our customers. They'll say, oh, I really wish my gun did this, or my gun's got a really big problem because it does this. And at Tandem Cross, we solve problems. That's what we do. So, I mean, any feedback customers can email and let us know what kind of things they're looking for. Keith
make a good trigger for the RPR.
Okay, writing that down right now.
And I was about to say, I bet money I know which precision rimfire you guys are going to touch first, and that I was guessing
for
the
real.
RPR 22.
Yeah, for real, the RPR is like the biggest thing, and we shot one, and it was not a bad gun, but man, that trigger was brutal. I was like, oh, it just feels awful.
No one makes a trigger for that thing?
I don't know. Maybe somebody does. But it's not a Tandem Cross, so who cares?
Exactly. Yeah, the only RPRs that I felt, the Gen 1 version, the bolt, the action of it, I don't know. It just felt a little rough, as far as that goes. I know I think they're up to what, Gen 3 of the RPR?
Now? They just released the Magnum, though. That's pretty sweet. I think it's like $2,000 for a 338. That's something I might accidentally buy one day.
The action wasn't the end of the world. I mean, a 22 action, you're only having to move it like a centimeter and a half to run it. So, I mean, it wasn't, to me, the action wasn't bad. The trigger was bad. It was bad. I was like, oh, it hasn't broke yet. Oh, okay, there it goes. It was like really long, and I didn't like the trigger at all, but the action didn't really bother me so much.
Yeah, I think it ran pretty smooth.
I would think that would be the top thing. Like if you wanted an easy, low-hanging fruit, an RPR trigger, that would get you in the precision market. 'Cause if you could do an aftermarket trigger that was really good for the RPR, I think people would bite on that big time.
Nice. Yeah. Well, Keith, you can get started on that. Let's get back from SHOT Show, then we'll have a powwow and start thinking about what kind of upgrades we can do on that Ruger Precision rifle.
So, Keith, every night during SHOT Show, you're supposed to be working in your hotel room. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
you're supposed to be partying hard, man.
No, sleeping, man.
I can tell you that recently we did acquire a Ruger Precision rifle. It's in our gun room, and I've already taken it apart and checked out what's going on with it. It's interesting that it does have an adjustable trigger on it. They give you a little Allen wrench that's under a cover that's on the gun. You can take it off, and you can adjust the trigger pull on it.
That's what that random Allen wrench was for.
That's what it is. There's a little set screw on the bottom of the gun that you can actually loosen up a little bit,
those things.
and you can adjust the trigger pull. It's kind of cool. And one of our consulting engineers at Tandem Cross used to work at Ruger, and so he has a lot of sort of like inside information, and he has great things to say about the RPR rifle and the way that it's made. So we are pretty excited about it. And I know that in talking with Jake over the past 9 months, many times he's talked about how he wants to get to some precision rifle shooting matches so that we can talk to the people there. We can start understanding what it's all about and start understanding what all the needs are.
Come on out and hang out with us.
We'd love to. We would love to.
If you're looking at 22 in particular, somebody may have kind of voluntold me into actually running an NRL 22 match series here at our local range. Looking at literally Jennifer just typed that on the sideline. Anyway, yeah, we're
maybe not.
It's kind of up to me, but I'm thinking we're gonna end up going that way. Because it was just so much fun to go and shoot this little 22 precision match. We were shooting out to 250 yards with the 22. And it was like, oh, that was $12 worth of ammunition for the day.
For the day, not for the stage. It was wonderful.
Yeah, you go out to a PRS match and it's like, oh, that's 200 plus rounds of 6.5 Creedmoor. That's just about a left kidney worth. But I think we're going to be doing a little bit of this NRL 22. It's not quite the extreme long range that the Voodoo match that we went and shot was, but it's out to 100 yards and targets are down to a 1/4 inch. So it should be pretty fun.
Well, and what I love about 22, whether it's pistol or rifle, is that it's such a great caliber to get people started, like kids, females that have never shot a gun. It's just a great introduction into the gun world for people that are not used to shooting bigger guns and maybe they're apprehensive about the recoil or whatever. I think it's just a great caliber to start with.
I mean, not only that, but the cost. Like, especially to get into the precision stuff, maybe you can find someone to borrow a gun from, but probably not with a barrel life of those things. And the NRL 22 has a production class, and, something like this, it's $350 or something. I need to change the optic on this before I shoot it with it, but just a little Savage Mark III or Mark II, whatever this thing is. A bipod and a bag, and you're done.
Yep. Get in on the cheap. Yep. All right, so we're gonna get into. We kind of did the notes kind of backwards, it seemed, but we're gonna get into the. Yeah, we're gonna get in. We're gonna get into the. It kind of the flow of the conversation kind of went that way, but we're gonna get into new products. SHOT Show is like right here. I mean, what are we, a week away, maybe less, or something like that for SHOT Show. Tandem Cross is going to be there. What is the booth number for those who are attending?
818.
Woohoo! Yes, you win.
Hey, there we go. Sweet.
Do I get a prize?
Yes, you will get one of our new RPR triggers when they come to market. Just remind me.
I am coming to see y'all, and I'm excited about that. I've got y'all on the schedule, so
great.
All right, but what do we have? I know there's products that are already released, like the Cornerstone safety for the Victory. That's fairly new.
Yeah, Keith, why don't you talk about that? Because you really definitely had a lead in the design and the machining and how to figure out that part. It was a real tough part for us to figure out, but it was a problem that really needed to be addressed. Often when people are shooting the Smith & Wesson Victory, it's not uncommon for you to accidentally engage the safety and turn the safety on. So we knew we needed to solve that problem. Keith, why don't you fill in how we did that?
It wasn't all me.
I know, but
yeah, it was
me. More
but, I sort of came in on it at the tail end of it, but it's sort of a two-piece product. It has a stainless steel safety cage that goes on the inside of the gun, and then on the outside is the Cornerstone itself that you put your thumb over, and then we had to make sure that those two parts interfaced in the proper way. We had to make sure that they worked with all kinds of different grips, whether you're running a Volquartsen grip or you're running one of our Hive grips, or you're just running stock grips. We wanted to make sure that there wasn't going to be any problems with that. And obviously, when you get into the fire control system and the safety system, we want to make sure that everything works just perfectly. So we had to do cycle testing on it to make sure that everything worked perfectly, even after thousands and thousands of cycles. So that's kind of what the design process looked like. And yeah, we're really excited that it's out there because we knew it would be a product that a lot of people would be wanting to put onto their gun, because even when our company went out and we had a little shooting match at our company meeting for the year, everybody was accidentally turning on the safety as they were trying to shoot steel. And so that's not really good for your time.
No, I actually remember we were talking to Jake and Brian about this, and I don't know if it was during the live show, pre-show, or post-show. I was like, man, is there any way we could just take the safety out? Like, just take it out and don't worry about it, right? And they're like, no, you need to be in there for the gun to function or other things to work. And they were like, well, you could just take, I think there's like almost like a rubberized thing on the safety, on the factory safety. You can just take that out, so it'll make it less for you to hit. And then, lo and behold, Tandem Cross, maybe 6, 7, 8 months later, I forgot the last time, they have their safety to remedy that problem, which makes a little bit more sense, because if you take it off, now you don't have. A lot of people like to grip the gun, and they have that shelf, kind of like a 1911, and there's a variety of other guns. You have that shelf there to help aid with your grip, recoil management, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what the Quarterstone safety does. Part of its main function. Anything to add as far as that goes, though? That safety.
Well, definitely, the intention of the part, I found talking to customers when we first released the part, they're like, oh, this isn't solving the problem because I still keep nudging it with my thumb. But once you explain the purpose is to actually put your thumb on it, and right. So you're always pushing the safety down, they're like, oh, I didn't realize that. We kind of have a little laugh about it and move on. But, we have another company that we do a lot of work with named Striplin Custom, run by a gentleman named Billy Striplin. And he does a lot of, he dabbles in some Smith & Wesson parts and Browning Buckmark parts. And we carry some of his parts on our store. And he makes a forward left side thumb rest. So really combining the thumb rest for your left hand and then the Cornerstone safety thumb ledge for your right thumb, you've got like this twofold place for both your thumbs to be, and it really increases stabilization when you're shooting. They're a real nice pair put together, and we like to recommend those to customers too.
One of the first exercises that I went through when I came to Tandem Cross, Brian and Jake brought me out to a range. And first they put a stock gun into my hands, and they had me shoot that and put a couple magazines through just a stock gun. And then they started putting guns into my hand, adding on one accessory from Tandem Cross at a time so that I could feel what the difference was. And like Jen said before, when you put a trigger onto a gun, that's a really big upgrade. That makes it feel like a race gun really quick. But the other accessory that I thought made one of the biggest differences was having the forward thumb ledge on it. Your left hand, you wouldn't think is doing so much work, but when you're trying to stay on target, having that left hand thumb ledge is a really big deal. And I think that's a really great accessory for any gun. And also my son is 14 years old, and I'm always shooting with him. And when you have those thumb ledges, either the rear thumb ledge on the Cornerstone or the forward thumb ledge, he knows where to put his hands sort of. And so he always puts his hands onto the gun in the right way. And then that carries over into the other guns that we have that maybe aren't so well suited to have those. Like when we shoot the Glock, he knows where to put his thumbs, and he knows how to overlap his hands because he had that practice with our Smith & Wesson 22.
Boom. Yeah, I agree with all that stuff. It's we got a lot of new products we're going to talk. Well, yeah, actually there is a lot more to talk about here as far as new products. We're going to get into the discount corner portion of the show because we kind of, last couple of shows, we kind of just forgot about it, right? Or we said it like towards the end of the show and not towards the midway of the show like we're supposed to. Jen, you usually start us off. What do you have as far as discount codes go?
So you can get 10% off at carbonarms.us for any Carbon Arms shotgun shell caddies, extension tubes for a shotgun, chest rigs, what we used to call the jihad vest until it was not kosher to call it that. But yeah, the chest rig that is for shotgun shells, you can get 10% off. So go check them out at carbonarms.us, and the 10% off code is TSM10. And you can also get, if you find me at SHOT Show and you take a picture with me, and yep, I just got confirmation. 25% off. If you find me at SHOT Show and take a picture with me in my jacket that's back there, my blue Under Industries jacket, take a picture with me, you'll get 25% off on your order that you place. You can just message them and say, Jennifer said I can get 25% off if I mention the Shooter's Mindset. So you can get 25% off, which is pretty high. I keep wanting to say 10 because usually we don't have 25%. That's pretty massive. So you can get 25% off at Under Industries on jerseys, jackets, hoodies. They have all kinds of things you can get, tech shirts.
All your apparel needs almost, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. You can set up your jersey with your sponsors, and then you can have your hoodies, jacket, everything set up like that. So you can have multiple things with the same artwork. So check them out, underindustries.com, and you can get 25% off if you find me and take a picture with me at SHOT Show.
Some people probably want to take a picture with you just walking around in general.
Oh,
now they get 25% off. So there you go. It's bonus. That's all you got?
That's all I got.
All right, Greg, what do you have?
All right, I got you can save 10% off at Overwatch Defense using the code Cannon10. Just shoot them an email, give them a call. You get 10% off of an awesome Cerakote job or any of the products in their shop.
There we go. Keith, man, you have any codes? Jen, any codes from Tandem Cross? Any promotions going on?
We do have some more dealer-focused promotions that we're running for SHOT Show. We kind of listened to dealers when they were coming around that they said, well, it's nice for us to get, these great combos that you're putting together, but we really like free stuff. I don't know, it's everyone's favorite four-letter F word. So we kept that in mind when putting together our dealer-focused promotions for SHOT Show. So we have one for people if they're looking to stock either our Smith & Wesson Hive grips or our Mark IV Hive grips. If you buy 15, you'll get 5 free. We also have our Thunder Hammer for the Smith & Wesson Victory. Buy 5 of those, get 1 free. And also something we should talk a little about, but our upgrades that we have for the PC carbine now. We have a flat face trigger, and we also have a Game Changer Pro in the 9mm size now. So we also have a promotion running for dealers when they're purchasing those as well. So
there we go.
I don't have any coupon codes to share. I'm going to have to make sure we get something to you that you can share afterwards.
All right, there we go. If we do, it's good to put TSM10 on anything because it always works across the board for anybody. That way, if people are just listening to the show and they don't want to click in the link or something, I don't know.
Oh, wait. Except Jen TSM10 on the Shooter's Mindset
store. Yeah, I knew you were missing something for some reason.
I know. I forgot. I'm sorry. ShootersMindset.com. You can go on our store and you can get 10% off with Jen TSM10, and it's the best code ever. So
wait a second. Why don't I have one of these codes? I need to argue with her about this.
It takes a long time to get those codes, man, because it's more because I'm lazy.
You have to do your time, young man. You need to do your time.
I'm going to go ahead and say this. If you're watching this in the year 2020, go ahead and try the code replacement 10.
There we go.
See if it works. It probably won't, but give it a try.
Yeah, it might work. There you go. I'm going to smoke through a couple my discount codes here. We got a couple live questions that came in. We'll get to those shortly. Folks over at Tactical Shit, shop.tacticalshit.com, TSM10, good on their website or at their retail store in St. Peters, Missouri. If you yell it at the cashier, you will get 10% off. TerranTacticalInnovations.com, TSM10 for 10% off their entire website. Tactical, TSM10 for 10% off everything over there. They got a lot of holsters, AR-15 focus parts, and actually that'll do it for my code. Just wanted to get through those quick. We have one here. Where's this live one at? It's from David. He said, I'm interested in the everything package for a Ruger Mark IV 2245. Will TK have something like that available soon?
Sure. So the everything kit that we will put on the webpage now and again is definitely a great kit because it's called the everything kit because it literally pulls together everything that we sell for that, everything we make for that firearm. So it puts it all in one kit, a little bit of a discount, good discount thrown in there. It's one of those rotating things that sometimes some months we'll put on and some months we won't. But definitely if there's ever anybody who's interested in that and it isn't a month that we have it on, you can always call us and we'll honor the price that we last had it posted at. So he can definitely give us a call and talk to our service reps to get that.
Yeah, mention you've seen it on the Shooter's Mindset, you might get an extra sticker thrown in a package or something. You know what I mean? It usually works. What else? We have Bob Jones, Stephanie, all saying hello. Reloading from the hot pot. Says hello back. Also, what do we have? David also said, what is it? We're gonna post his code in. His last name is Lyle10. I'm sorry if I screwed that up. 10% off Cerakote and stippling from Overwatch Defense. So folks over at
Look
Overwatch.
Look at David. Look
Canon
at
10.
David. He is trying to usurp his code.
Go use David's code. See if we can.
No, you use Canon 10. You get to type the word Canon if you use Canon 10. That's a lot cooler than David's last name.
It is cooler.
David, I kind of love you for that because that was really funny.
Yeah, there we go. What else we got? Ruger PC Carbine, that was released, big hit. I think we all thought it was going to be a big hit, especially for the Ruger. I mean, the Rimfire, still challenge kind of games, right? Not the Rimfire, the still challenge side of things. Tandem Cross has a lot of new parts. We said the trigger, right? The Victory trigger, and we have their compensator for the Ruger. Do we want to mention anything about those products or anything regarding that platform?
Yeah, I think I'd like to talk about it. The first project that I worked on, we'll back up a little, but the first project that I worked on when I came to Tandem Cross was making a trigger for the 1022. And we partnered up with a company called Brimstone, and they took care of designing the fire control system. David Seth was the person that came up with the design for that. And it's a really, really innovative design, and it's different than everything else. With all other 1022 triggers, as you're pulling the trigger back before the trigger actually goes off, before the sear disengages the hammer, you're actually compressing the main spring. And he came up with this innovative design that makes it so you are not compressing the main spring. So the force that your finger is applying to the trigger isn't going up as you're squeezing it. And, you know, the way he came up with this wasn't just like this brilliant idea. It was because his company has done thousands, I think tens of thousands of trigger jobs on 1022 guns. So to land in my seat as a design engineer, I was designing the trigger. Jake and Brian were helping me with that. They're masters of the Victory trigger. But I also got to work with David Seth and develop this new trigger for the 1022. So that was released on October 22nd last year. And that's a really, really beautiful product. I don't mind saying so myself. I have one in my gun at home, and it's great. And so everything that I learned from the 1022, that applies really nicely to the PC9, because the PC9 is sort of just a scaled up version of the 1022. And so, you know, right on the heels of making that trigger and getting that out to market, we wanted to jump into the PC9. We think that it's an exciting platform. There's tons of value in it. When you take that gun out of the box, there's so many good things about it, like fluted barrel and threaded barrel for a compensator, ambidextrous charging handle, all these great things about it. But, you know, there's all this excitement out there, but there's not a lot of accessories for it. And we know how to make triggers as good as we know how to make anything. So we were like, let's take everything that we put into the 1022 trigger and let's put in the PC9. So we quickly developed a trigger for that. We gave it to our beta testers, and actually our beta testers like came back and said, no, we need something that's different. It was actually the original trigger that we made. It was kind of hard for children to get their hands to. The stock on the PC9 is sort of a big stock.
I agree. Yeah.
And so people were sort of saying like, hey, they actually sent us video of children trying to shoot the PC9, and we could see what was going on. And so that changed the angle of our trigger. Usually we have like a very vertical flat face trigger, and on the PC9, you'll see that it's sort of slanted back. And that makes it really comfortable for all hand sizes. And that's always the challenge as a design engineer, making things for guns, making grips and making triggers. You want to make it so, you know, the biggest group of people can enjoy that trigger and it will fit for them. And so that's sort of how that design came along. And it's a beautiful trigger, and it's out there. And it's another product that I encourage everybody to try out.
So you mean all shooters are not 6 feet tall and 200 pounds?
No,
actually, no, I weigh much more than that.
What?
Yeah.
I think that's awesome, though, really, seriously, especially with being 22. That's such a good caliber to get, like, children into. I know we have one that came and shot one of our matches here, and he is now, is he a master or grandmaster, Greg?
That would be 3 grandmasters, I think.
And he's like 11.
He is 11. Shout out to Max there.
In the different divisions. But I just think that it's so great that y'all have really thought about kids and how their reach is and being able to get them a good trigger pull. It's props to y'all is all I got to say. That's awesome, really.
Yeah, I did notice that. It's like the way the stock is, and the your reach to the trigger, for me it's a little awkward, and I didn't really notice that until I actually picked it up a few times. I was like, man, I really can't. I mean, I shoot the gun really well. I mean, that's why I was so excited when that gun came out, and I knew Tandem Cross was going to be putting out some products for it to make it better. I just thought out the box, I thought it was a good gun, and I knew it was going to take off. But I did notice that, because we have one as a rental, and every time I pick it up, I feel like I just can't get that perfect placement on the trigger where I want to be. And I think that trigger's I know it helps. I didn't even know as I was doing a little research, looked at the video. I'm like, wow, that angle's unique. I didn't think they would do that. I think it'll be the traditional Victory style straight trigger, but it's angled differently to work.
The 9mm caliber, it's a nice step up from the 22 for kids. My son, he's shot a lot of 22 LR. Now he's 14 years old, and he's getting interested in bigger calibers. And so he loves shooting the PC9. It's got a little bit more recoil. It feels a little bit more like a big gun, but it's still he can handle it, and he shoots it great, And also what's nice about the PC carbine is a shorter rifle because it's a carbine, so that fits kids great.
Mm-hmm. And it already comes as standard with a threaded barrel, so adding the comp. I believe they do have one. It might be like a California style gun or something like that, but you can get them without the threaded barrel, but all the ones that I've seen come with a threaded barrel ready to rock. So you just take the cap off, throw on your Tandem Cross comp, and you're ready to kind of rock. As far as that goes. Any new products as far as the Browning Buckmark? Anything over there?
Yeah, well, so when we went to the Worlds, I say I didn't go to it, but Jake and Brian went to it. And when Jake got back, he's always coming back from these shows with ideas. And a lot of times it's either from the people that shoot on our team or from our customers. And he came back, and what he was talking about is the sear spring for the Buckmark. And so there's so many of those guns out there, and over the years people wanted to lower the trigger pull. And so what they do is this thing, I guess it's on the interwebs or something, and they call it the Haggis flip. And so they take the sear spring, which is a torsion spring that applies pressure to the sear and keeps it against the hammer, and they flip over the sear spring so that there's less pressure coming from that spring onto the sear. And what that does is supposedly it lowers the trigger pull, but what people have found is that it's not a very reliable mod to make to your gun. Sometimes the guns go full auto on people. In no way are we suggesting that you should do that. And over the years also, Browning had a spring called the Silhouette spring, and I don't think that that's available anymore. And just to take out and put back in the original sear spring is something that's very hard to do. So when Jake came back, he said, this is the challenge. We'd like to come up with a spring that's an improved spring, that's a safe spring, and something that's easy to install. And so those were kind of like the foundational requirements, and we started brainstorming on how we were going to try to solve this problem. So over the past couple of months, we've developed that. We've spent a lot of time making prototypes and sending them out to our shooters and getting great feedback from them. And we're now at a place where we're very close to releasing the product, and it's something that I think we're going to introduce at SHOT Show. So we're really excited about it.
Yeah, playing with those type of springs, I've had my fair share. And you might do it, and it might work a match or two, and everything's going well, and then it'll poop out on you when you need it most. I'm telling you, I've done it with, taking Glock striker springs and tweaking them down and trying to get that 2-pound reliable Glock trigger pull, right? And man, I think we went to a 4-pound striker spring, and I can only shoot this kind of ammo, and it had to be Federal gold medal match primers, and it kind of limited the reliability of that gun to that primer. You almost had to load ammo for it at that point. So, and I've had some triggers that were, adjustables, and then springs and pins will back out, and then you'll get like boom, 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 like 3 go off in one squeeze, stuff like that. Don't do that type of stuff. I mean, you learn the hard way. I've always learn the hard way when it comes to things like that. I like to push everything to the max, though. Then you find out, and then you have to back it off a notch. So there we go. SHOT Show talk. We talked about the booth number. Any kind of reveals on new product that are being announced at SHOT that we can mention today?
Jen, do you want to field this question?
Or
breaking news on the
any SHOT Show talk in general.
Well, up in our new product, up in the new product display, Jake has built an extremely cool product display that's going to be up in the new product area for our Smith & Wesson Thunder Hammer, so our new replacement hammer. That's something we had our prototypes at SHOT Show last year, and we brought those to market this year. So as a new completed part, we've got a very cool display up there. So you definitely have to go check that out because it's really neat. So that'll really be putting a nice focus on our Thunder Hammer. The Browning Buckmark gearbox that Keith was talking about, we'll have parts there for that as well. And we're bringing a new gun to the booth this year that we haven't had in previous years. It's the Kel-Tec CP33. So this is a really interesting gun to us. It's a competition 22 LR. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think, Kel-Tec guns like the PMR 30 and the CMR 30 are super fun to shoot. We do have some parts for those guns. And so we're branching out a little bit into some other Kel-Tec. So for those, we will also have, we'll have that there with some prototype parts on it. I'm not sure if our prototype parts will be up at the Kel-Tec booth or not. So you might need to come down specifically to our booth to see them. But we will have a cornerstone safety thumb ledge for that gun that will also work on the PMR 30 and the CMR 30. We'll also have an accelerator thumb ledge, a forward thumb ledge that will also work on the PMR, and then a trigger for it as well. So that's really exciting. That's also going to be compatible with the CMR and the PMR. So that's pretty cool. I always get excited when we really start branching out of, our Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Buckmark. Those are the things, and 1022s. Those are things that we're really known for. So it's exciting when we branch out into new guns, because what it means is it's bringing new customers to us that haven't necessarily known about us because they don't shoot rimfire. So, having these new guns out in the booth is pretty cool. And plus, when you see prototypes and you get to kind of hold them, that's really exciting to check them out and play with them too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And when I heard about this, there was a blog site, what is it, alloutdoors.com, alloutdoor.com. I'm not going to say they leaked it because I think Kel-Tec knew about it, but they were kind of like the first one to put it out there. Kel-Tec's releasing their CP33. Cool thing is it's 33 round mag of 22 long rifle, based on, from what I gather, on the PMR 30, which is a 22 Magnum frame. So it looks pretty cool, coming with the fiber optic sights and all that. You can simply attach an optic onto it to make it into the open division. 33 rounds is very high. Most of your Victories and your Rugers are coming usually with 10-round magazines, so that's a bonus. So they're also coming out with a shotgun similar to their KSG. It's kind of like evolved from the KSG model. So those are just kind of some of the new guns from Kel-Tec. And I'm seeing a trend here that a lot of the companies, now you went to SHOT Show, you went to this booth, they had this cool product, everybody was so hyped about it, and they'll say, well, it's coming out second quarter. And then second quarter comes and you don't see it, you don't hear about it. And then 2 years and then it comes out. And everybody's like, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? Now it seems the trend is that people are releasing it, or the release date is when they announce it at SHOT. So you can, the Glocks, you can almost get them as soon, I think the 22nd, I think you can get them in gun shops. I think Kel-Tec's doing a similar thing. There's a lot of companies kind of following that trend other than just announcing it and then never comes out. And it's a good thing. Obviously, they already have parts like Tandem Cross. Companies are already building stuff. So when the gun comes out, you can immediately go buy the parts instead of waiting. So makes a lot of sense. I think that, that's going to be a big deal, because I do see a lot of people on social media saying, when is it going to come out, like that Rob Pincus gun, whatever, that I don't even know. I don't know, forgot what it's called, but it's like a single stack 9mm, and they've been announcing that for like almost like 3-4 years at SHOT, and it's still not out. And every time they post about it, they're like, you know what I mean? They're just getting hammered by comments on when the gun's coming out.
I'm going to be in trouble when that new CM or CP33 comes out, because I've been telling everybody for years and years and years they're the PMR, the 22 Magnum one. Yeah, like, I'd buy that, but it's not 22 long rifle. I don't need to add another caliber. And I've been saying, I was like, if they ever come out with, I was thinking they wouldn't do it, but now they did it, so I'm going to have to buy one.
Yeah, and Kel-Tec makes affordable guns also. PMR 30 is a fun gun to shoot, man. 22 Magnum makes a kind of a big fireball, a big loud bang, but the recoil's not there. So there it is to some of Kel-Tec's products, okay? Also new announcements on guns, and you guys have some involvement with it, is the Vorkorsen Black Mamba, I believe they're calling it, that's coming with your grip on it. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So 22 Plinkster had put together, 22 Plinkster works with Vorkorsen, and they had 22 Plinkster likes to sort of build his own guns for a while. He had his Frankenrugers and things like that. So he, sort of meshed this Vorkorsen upper and Mark IV 2245 lower and did a video about it. And people liked it so much, they were constantly calling Vorkorsen and saying, can't you just build that gun and I'll just buy it? I don't want to build it myself. So just build the gun and I'll just buy it. So go do that. And so we spent some time speaking with Scott Vorkorsen, and we've had our Smith & Wesson Victory Hive grip come out on is being released with the Smith & Wesson. The Performance Center models are shipping with our Tandem Cross Hive grip on it. So, Scott Vorkorsen approached us and said, we'd really like to include your grip on this. So on this new Black Mamba. So it's exciting for us. It's an opportunity. For some of the big companies, I think they're like, oh yeah, we have our parts shipping on stock guns all the time. But, for a company like ours, it's a really big deal. It really cements us in the industry, gets our name out there even more. And it's really, I just think it's really fun and exciting.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, I agree. So a company like Smith & Wesson, who's putting a Performance Center model, the Performance Center models, there's their premium models, custom shop. They're coming with a trigger job. They're coming with all the sights, the wig, the porting barrels. They come with a lot of extras in their Performance Center guns. And for them to say, hey, this grip is worthy and good enough to put on our performance guns is a great accomplishment. So
yeah, and that took a long time coming to. Brian, one of our company owners, is our business development director, and that was a long couple years getting that deal going with them, and it was a lot of back and forth and a lot of different revs of things, but just really exciting to have that really feels to me like it's cementing us in the industry.
Oh,
yeah. And Brian and Jake, the owners of the company, they came from the software industry. And in that industry, when you have different companies who are competitors, but they're in the same niche, they'll partner up and the customers will get a better product and both of the companies will benefit. And I think that's what's going on here. It's in everybody's best interest, for the customer, for Vorkorsen, for Tandem Cross, for us to mesh our products together where it makes sense. The Mark IV 2245 grip, even in-house, when we're making other grips for other guns, we go back to that grip because we love it so much, and we know that so many people, that fits so many hands so well. That's something that we do with products around here all the time. We'll get them to the point where we think they're close, and then we'll put them in the hands of every person in the company, and then even outside of the company. And that is just a really outstanding product, and it's great that Vorkorsen realizes that and customers realize that, and now we can go on to their platform, which is an amazing platform.
Oh, there we go. Jenny, I think you had a question lined up. I don't know if it's live or just off the notes.
Do y'all have any upcoming matches or products or company goals other than the obvious stuff that's going to be at SHOT Show next week? What else is coming up for y'all?
Well, we have, the products that we've mentioned, upcoming matches, for us, we just released, I guess you could say, announced our 2019 Team Tandem Cross shooting team. So we've increased to 20 shooters this year. So that's really exciting for us. And what's great is our shooters really cover a broad spectrum of ages, as well as a broad spectrum of ages, as well as levels and what they're shooting. So those really go nice cross country for us. So that's exciting for us. That's just happened. And company goals, really just to grow bigger. We're going to put a big push on marketing this year. We have our marketing manager has done a super job with all of our marketing, and we've really created a good solid foundation to have people see us. So now it's really the opportunity for us to take that a step further and really think outside the box and how we can continue to brand ourselves and make people aware of us.
Yeah, I think that, we talked a little bit about the RPR and the long range game, and then we're talking about these Kel-Tec firearms. And, you kind of step out the box where you're not just known as those Rimfire 22 people that make, fantastic parts with Rimfire guns and stuff like that, that you're one of those companies that for any part. And I know you guys do other parts. You guys got stuff for Kel-Tecs on there. I believe you have some Glock stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So there is stuff on there. But, I think the general person is going to think Tandem Cross 22 stuff. If we can branch out, obviously that more shooters. Now everybody's coming to your stuff for parts for all their guns. So that makes sense to get out there. That just is going to make you grow in a sense. I think that long range game though is really going to be a ticket, but what do I know, right?
Yeah, that's it. We talked about the PC9 a little bit, and so right now we came out with a 9mm compensator recently, and also the trigger for it. But I think on that platform, that's something that we want to concentrate on, and we want to grow in that platform for sure.
Yeah, boom. We talked a little bit about the Performance Center Victory. That almost comes like pretty much race ready, right? You almost buy it. What would you guys actually add to it? That's a TK part to that model, if you had one.
We have customers call us with that question, and usually what we recommend is our new Thunder Hammer. That's a nice upgrade that's going to really help with your trigger pull and lightening that. And then we've also got things like the Halo charging ring, magazine bumpers, +1 followers. We've released a new low profile optic mount this year recently, and that's a new part for us. And what's great about this over the previous version we had is it's much more accommodating to a variety of optics. The first one we released was really geared towards a Seymour mount, the Seymour Railway, which is something a lot of our shooters use, but we have people like, I want to mount my Vortex Venom, I want to mount my Burst Fastfire, I want this. And so we needed to think of a way that we could create a mounting plate that's going to allow those shooters that low profile mount. So I think the Performance Center ships with a standard Picatinny rail. So being able to put that new mount on is another great option for them too.
That rail is also available for the 1022.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I agree. I think I always run a Seymour Railway. I just that optic really fits well with the Victory. I'll also run that on some of my AR9s or my pistol caliber carbine AR style rifles. So it's just a similar optic to me, and we know they're reliable because they've been in the competition scene and highly used by some of the best. But yes, it's growing. People are sponsored by certain companies now. A lot of people are putting out their red dot sights. You got the Leupold, Trijicons, Vortex, Burris. There's so many, and there's a lot of companies that I'm missing. And now you got almost one mount to do it all instead of having to switch mounts. Now you're sponsored by this company, or now you like this sight better because such and such came out with this. Now you have a mount to do it all, and that saves you money in the long run.
And not only that, with this mounting plate, the Shadow Rail plate, it allows you to reverse the plate so that you can have an RMR sight either be in the forward position or the rearward position, depending on how you like it. So that's another bit of flexibility that it brings to the table.
Yeah,
have you guys looked at making that for like a Ruger?
That might
That's
be-
actually the only aftermarket part besides for the optic that I have on here, because I put it up on the Picatinny rail when I got it. And I was like, man, this is like 9.5 feet over my barrel. I need to bring it down somehow.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Roger that.
Yeah. I was on the Tandem Cross website, which is tandemcross.com, and they have the old version of the shadow mount that I have. So if you are one of those people who are running a railway Seymour dot, you can get it at a really good price. Okay, I don't want to quote the price, but it was let's just say it was like $9.99 or something. Like what? Like I'm gonna get that. Just add it to the cart. So I believe they still have it in stock. I'm gonna double check that right now, but I'm pretty sure I saw it earlier today.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we do. I think I'm thinking of inventory levels off the top of my head. I believe we're starting to run low on silver, but I think we do still have a lot of them left in black. And
Yeah,
it's our new
on sale for $9.99, and I believe it was the retail price was $47.99. So going from the plastic one out the box to a metal one, I think is a good upgrade for that price. Absolutely. Any other questions? Anything live? Anything that we missed here? Anything on the YouTube side of things? We have had Havoc Legion shooting team checking in. It's been a while since I've seen him there. Jake Weidman's in the house saying Thunder Hammer Plus. Chris Cannon says, I love how every week Greg has the gun he wants to talk about just casually sitting on his desk.
It's just coincidence that this is here. You know.
That's the thing. He won a nice Vortex Razor, which is an expensive, $350, $400 dot or whatever. But then he had to go buy a whole nother gun to get it. It's like nothing's free. All right, you win something, you win a part. Now you have to buy a gun to go with it, so it costs you money.
Hey, he won stuff on the shooter's mindset.
Yeah.
Don't diss it. It's okay. It's good.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But then he had to go spend.
It was a good
$400 on it.
excuse to buy a new gun.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Always a good excuse to buy a gun.
Honestly, the first time I took apart a Mark III, I was like, wow, this is garbage. It's just a pain. And I'm literally an engineer, and my job is to figure out how to put stuff together. And I was dealing with that thing, and I was like, why? So I decided I wanted the Mark IV, and it's just been kind of like a plan that eventually I'm going to come up with an excuse. And then winning a free red dot was definitely the excuse I needed. I went to Cabela's the next day.
I'm renting some of those guns at the gun range. Actually, we have a Mark IV 22. We have one suppressed, and we have another one. I forgot exactly the model, but it's a Mark IV. So the button, some people who are completely kind of a novice, it's happened more times than once, is they'll come like in with the gun with the upper half and the lower half like in the bucket. They're like, what happened?
Is this where you press to shoot?
Yeah, did we tell you to press the button back there? We didn't tell you to do that. And the gun comes back in two pieces, and we just have to slap it back together really quick. So it's like Ruger listened to people saying it was their complaints on their older series rimfire guns that they almost made it like too easy now to take apart. So it's interesting. The Victory came out, and and then Ruger kind of one up them, but I actually think the Victory will kind of avoid that novice to take it apart by just hitting a button. And it's easy to take apart and put back together all at the same time. So whatever, there's trade-offs to everything, but I'm sure the Mark IV is excellent when you know what you're doing and just don't hit that button and make that happen, right? Lastly, what else we got here? I think we're good. Unless I'm missing anything on the show notes. Well, if not, we can line this one down here to shout-outs. Looks like we're good. Anything that we're missing? No, let's do it with the shout-outs. Jen.
All right.
Usually do.
Shout out to Prime Ammunition for awesome ammo. Under Industries for their awesome jackets. If you can see mine back there. And if you find me at SHOT Show and take a picture with me, you can get 25% off of your next order. Lansing Tactical for awesome gas guns. Night Force Optics for great glass. It's just clear, crystal clear. I love their glass. GSL suppressors so that I don't hurt everyone else's ears. Ryan Hay will appreciate me for that. Hush. I'm not talking about you. So GSL suppressors, check them out. Hopefully mine will be out of jail soon. And I'll be at their booth Tuesday morning from like 9 until 10:30 or 11. Who else? Sharpshooters of Augusta and Shooters of Augusta. And I think that's all.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
I have as well Shooters and Sharpshooters of Augusta. I have Overwatch Defense. Make sure to check them out for some awesome Cerakote work. And PDC Custom.
There we go.
Oh, wait, I do have one more.
I know
McMillan Stocks is my new one. Woohoo!
So you've had a week this week, Jen. So you got McMillan. And what else happened this week?
I know. I got my master's degree this week, but nobody on this cares about that because that's.
Where's the Google effects here? We got to.
That's nothing to do with shooting, but I did get my master's degree.
That means more money for shooting.
Maybe. But McMillan Stocks is awesome, and check them out because there's a new release coming out. The press release just went out today about their A10. There's no pictures on there, but I promise you I will have pictures as of next week. Within a week from today, I will have pictures online of the new A10 stocks, so check them out.
There we go. Shout outs from Keith, man. What do you got?
I don't believe I have any shout outs. I mean, since we talked about Brimstone, I'll give a shout to them because it was a real pleasure working with them. And also Caltech. I'll give a shout out to them. We're really excited about what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks.
Boom. Yeah, I know Tandem Cross was leaking, like teasing, not leaking. They were teasing that the Brimstone thing, and I was thinking, all right, they're gonna partner up with this company, and they're gonna build some type of pistol, right? It was gonna be the Tandem Cross Ultimate Rimfire race gun. I thought that's what it was, and maybe it is still that. I don't know, but they kept teasing that thing, and I was like, man, it's gonna happen. We're gonna have our own Tandem Cross Rimfire gun. So stay tuned. Maybe that is, or maybe it's just a partner company they're helping build the parts with. But that's what I was getting when I saw those posts. Jen, anything from you as far as shout outs?
No shout outs for me. Jen, right? Yeah. Sorry, I sometimes get Jens confused. I'm like, no.
Yeah, we got two Jens.
I know which Jen. No, I already went. So it's your turn.
So shout outs. I agree with Keith. Caltech things. We're really excited about that coming on board. Shout outs to our sponsored shooting team. I'm really proud of everybody that's coming on board. We're looking forward to a really great shooting season this year.
Boom, there we go. I know you guys put out the sponsorship thing, and it's really, I know you guys get hit up a lot to get sponsored shooters. So, I mean, I don't know what the number was, but I'm sure it was in a few hundreds. And then I think what do we want?
It's 20 so hard to choose. Yeah.
20. So 20 Team Tandem Cross shooters are for this upcoming season. Congrats to them. Shout outs on my end here. What do we have? The folks over at Tactical Shit, shop.tacticalshit.com for all your tactical shit needs. Check them out. We appreciate their support for over the last 2 years on the Shooter's Mindset. What else we have? Definitely thanks to Jen and Keith for taking the time here and talking about what's coming up new with Tandem Cross. We appreciate that. If you want to email me, theshootersmindset@gmail.com is a good way to do that. Folks over at Tandem Cross, thank you for them. I'm a kind of affiliate kind of Tandem Cross shooter sponsor deal, so I appreciate them shooting their parts, their guns. I have the Smith & Wesson Victory, all tricked out other than the new safety that we talked about. But she runs like a clock. After I got that Victory trigger figured out, we did play with it a bit, but we did get it all dialed in, and now she runs. Lastly, that'll do it. That'll do it for episode 248 of the Shooter's Mindset. We appreciate you guys tuning in tonight, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you very much. Nice talking.